Hey guys. Hello humans. I'm gonna hang out, wait for people to get here, guys. Oh goodness. Things are happening. Oh. It's just students submitting their work late. Good old notifications. Hello, Miss Camilla. Hello. Student whose name I don't know how to pronounce, but I'm happy you're here. Allie, hello. The Senate is here. Good to know they're doing something today. Okay. Pull up my... It's officially 6 now. My computer is like revving up for this life. Sorry, folks. I'm checking on a few things first. All the things are happening. Tori's here. Jillian's here. Humans. Well, if your name isn't your like real name, please let me know who you are. Okay. Antonia. Look, I know who you are this today. Sometimes I remember things. Okay, I only have markers today, so I left all my pens at school. But it's cool. We're just going to use markers to write things. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be shiny. Okay, so first things first. Right now, y'all, everybody, go ahead and put your name on your review. What's up, Nathan? All right, so we're going to put our name. I'll put Miss Puckett, because I'm good at my job, and I know how to write my name. Sometimes I forget to do things, and I'm not great at my job. But there's that. So, matching, starting with that. Rohit, hello. We're glad to have you here, sir. So let's start with this little bit of joy. Where did the American Revolution begin? Sometimes I struggle. Sometimes the things. Okay. So number one, where did the Industrial Revolution begin? Hopefully remembering things, maybe a little bit. It started in Great Britain, so that would be letter E. When did it start? In the late 1700s. Manufacturing goods in the home is also known as cottage industry. Industries that locate, guys, I'm going to not write in these little things because it's hard to see, so I'm going to write over here. Industries that locate near raw materials, that would be H, bulk reducing. Industries that locate near the market are bulk gaining. Factors unique to location. Those would be considered site factors. Is B. I don't know why I wrote the whole thing out. I'm really good at my thing. Factors related to location, which means like where is it relative to other things. And that would be F. Situation factors. The lowest cost form of distance for very long transportation is C, boats. A location where a company can shift from one mode of transportation to another is a break of bulk point. Okay. An assembly line, each worker has an individual task. That would be a Fordist, like the Ford assembly line. And then lastly, more flexible work situations would be considered post-Fordist, which means like after Ford and his stuff. Give you a second to look at that. Does anybody have any questions about those now that we've looked at them together? Any questions about any of these? Man, Camilla had a streak going. Are any of these confusing, or you don't really know why it is what it is? Are we ready to move on to the next section? Maybe a little bit. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Wonder what song I'm going to start singing today randomly. Do I have a good memorization trick for bulk gaining and bulk reducing? Let me think. If anyone else has a good one, go for it. I'm trying to think. I just try to think about it logically for a second. Honestly, if it's bulk reducing, then it's going to be in its heaviest form. It's raw material, so we put it closest to whatever is heaviest. If it's bulk gaining, you put it closest to the market. If it's bulk reducing, you put it closest to, in my mind, it's kind of like this, and this could be entirely wrong. I've never really drawn this out in my head, but when I'm thinking about it, you have, you have like raw materials. I don't know what raw material that is, but you know, raw materials. Grass, plants, some kind of random fruit. It's not real. Whatever it is, it's not real. You could say that. That's a good idea, Nathan. Nathan just said, you could say that reducing goes to raw materials because they both start with R, which is good. And then I think of a factory. In my head, when I think about it, I don't think about it in terms of like a memory thing. I have to reason it out every time, kind of. And so basically you have okay, actually this is inaccurate because that would be the market. So hold on, restart. You didn't see it. It's a lie. Everything is a lie. I'm going to keep addressing it, Camilla, because I feel like you're not the only one who has this confusion. These are like raspberries. And the market is like where they sell it. So I love this purple. Hey, Taylor. So in my mind, when I'm thinking of the line between the two of them, I try to think logically on what side is it heaviest. Thanks, Taylor. I was always going to stream. It was just kind of like after school, I decided to do something, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give the kid. I'm going to allow myself to push the live stream back about 30 minutes. It'll be fine. And alas, it was. So basically, my thought process here is that I need to pick on which end. Like, am I going to put it closer to the market or closer to the raw materials? And if it is bulk reducing, it goes closest to the raw materials. If it is bulk gaining, it goes by the store. And we think bulk reducing, I'm going to say what Nathan said and say reducing, think raw materials. You want it the closest to the input. Bulk gaining, you could think gaining, you could think gotta have it. Gaining, you could think grocery. And all of those are like markets. Like another word for market is grocery. Gaining, grocery, reducing raw materials. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. At least a little bit. Any other questions we have? All right. So we're going to move on from this. Okay. Circle the world's top concentrations of industrial regions and cross out the ones that are not. Okay, so the world's most industrial regions. The world's most industrial regions. We have. Okay. If somebody can look up 11.34 in your notes, what is BRICS? What does BRICS stand for? BRICS. And can anyone pick one that does not exist? Like we do not have industrial regions there. In Eastern Asia, we do have industrial regions in Eastern Asia. We do have them in Europe. Eastern North America, that would make sense to us. All right, very good. Jillian just said it. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What does those countries represent? What do those countries represent? Those countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represent something. They represent emerging national economies. They represent places where industry is headed to. It's headed to. So, India, four of the fastest growing markets that represent important opportunities. India works. Brazil works. The only one that does not work is Western South America. Guys, Chile is not a fancy one. Circle Western Europe principal industrial areas. Cross out the ones that are not. The UK is one. Rhine River Valley, the Mid-Rhine, the Po Basin or the Po Valley. Portugal and Spain are not. Now, why was Eastern North America a major manufacturing center? Guys, I want you right now, in your own words, I want you to answer 14 through 19. Just write the number and then write what you put next to it. I want to write down some of what y'all's answers are. Okay, number 14, Jillian said it was near population markets. That was one reason. Also, it had access to transportation because of the coast. And resources in coal and lumber. Camilla, I would agree with you. Number 14, also large markets and the best infrastructure. Number 15, what region or what advantage does the Great Lakes region have as an industrial center? Access to transportation is the greatest asset. However, we can also add in it is the center of steel production. What site and situation advantage does Central Europe have? Antonia, I'm going to say for number 14, probably not, because war weapons were mostly manufactured. Because that didn't take place until later. That didn't take place until later, so I'm going to say no for that one. Number 16, though, what site and situation advantage does Central Europe have? It has less skilled workers, less skilled but cheaper workers than Western Europe. And guys, this is in your notes on 11.34. Less skilled and cheaper labor in Western Europe. But it had more expensive but more skilled workers in Asia and Latin America. That's true. Now, what situation advantage does Japan have? Or situational disadvantage? They are far. Number 17, Japan has to overcome isolation. That's a good way to put it, Temmie. Isolation and distance from consumers. I keep wanting to like combine the words consumer and customer, but then I feel like I keep writing like costumer. It's getting real weird. They're isolated, so they had to Japanify their stuff. That is true. They were able, but in their isolation, they were able to kind of figure out how to tackle the things. For number 16, also, they had proximity to the Western market, which was good. Number 18, what does the textile industry depend upon, and why are many textile factories located in Asia? Tony, you spelled Erica's name wrong. She's going to get mad at you. What does so the textile industry depends on cheap labor, low cost, cheap labor. Cheap labor drives the textile industry. That said, because cheap labor drives the textile industry, in Asia, there's low to no minimum wage. In fact, they can pay workers like 25 cents an hour and give them like room and board, and it is like they're living like kings. What location or site factor keeps industries in original locations such as northeastern and northwestern Europe? Skilled labor. What site and situation factors would a car company consider before building something? Basically, it's a lot of, for situation, that would be your proximity to market and the heaviest input. Requires less skilled labor, low cost, rapid delivery also. Antonia, what for rapid delivery? Erica, isn't that, Erica just said, isn't that kind of normalizing the exploitation of developing countries though? In terms of like using their cheap labor, yes, but at the same time, if we were to pay them, let's say like we pay them what we would pay them in the United States, well then all of a sudden we inflate their economy and we cause a lot of problems. So yes, and that would cause a lot of problems for the economy of that country, which was already struggling. So what I see here with in terms of using LDCs for their cheap labor, I think like both sides end up coming out on top. Because the less economically developed country gets more development, but then the more economic country gains cheap labor, which is better for consumers. So there's that. Now, as far as site factors go, I'm going to do this in purple. We're going to have cheap land, available labor, and capital. Smelly marker I just picked up. It does not smell good. It smells like hand sanitizer. But not like the good hand sanitizer. Somebody just asked, like, is there a good smelling hand sanitizer? There is. Ask my niece. She got it at Bath & Body Works. Okay, so we're matching again on 21 through everything else. Provide very low taxes and privacy. That would be H, offshore financial services. Burying the dead is C, a religious reason for the origin of settlements. Oof, indeed, Julia. I say Julia, Camilla. Ugh. Everything's terrible. It's fine. I'm sleepy. The chemical sanitizer is the best. All the chemicals. Protecting a group's assets would be G, a political reason for the origin of settlements. That's like if you're going through like a divorce, or if you were filing for bankruptcy or being sued. It's one way to hide how much you really make. Farm buildings, homes, and churches that are close together is an example of J, a clustered rural settlement. Retail, education, health, and hospitality are I, consumer services. I appreciate that you guys like all the colors. Honestly, it's because I keep writing in these markers, and I feel like I'm super ADD. So that's largely what it is, and it kind of just makes me happy to write in different colors. The area surrounding a service from which customers come, that is known as the hinterland or the market area. The minimum number of people needed to support a service is E, your threshold. The maximum distance people are willing to travel for a service would be the range. How far do you reach? Industries that sell their products or services primarily to outside consumers is a basic industry. That sell their primarily to customers in the community would be F. Okay, what questions do you have for me, guys? Basic and non-basic in the notes. JIBEDAF. Yes. Where's basic and non-basic in the notes? Samika, that would be in 12.34. Do you have a memory trick for range and threshold? Ooh. Anybody help Allie out if you can. I feel like range always means distance. Like, range is like home on the range. Like, how far away are you from something? Threshold means like, no. How would burial ritual motivate new settlement? Range is distance. Threshold is the amount of customers. I like that. Burial rituals would motivate new settlement because once you bury someone, if the burial ritual within your religion had to do with like honoring the dead, then that would be like you would need to stay there so you could bury your dead and like revisit them, things like that. It's kind of weird, but it's a thing. Threshold, who is the Senate? Range is distance, and then threshold is the amount of customers. Threshold is the amount of customers that you need to hold on to your business. Oh, Rohit, did you ever end up figuring out if 11 on the quiz was C instead of D? It's actually D. I actually did look that up, and apparently I looked at the key wrong, so that's my bad, guys. Number 11 on the review, or on your quiz today was D, which means that's the one that had to do with the hexagons. Not workers needed, Erica, customers needed. I'm really sleepy. What are 2 comparative advantages that a country wanting to encourage business process outsourcing might have? The Senate, who are you? Okay, number 31 is at the end of your notes on 12.34. It's at the very, very end. It's like the last slide. Can an example be, when it says like how far they're willing to travel, can an example be like IKEA? Yeah, you could use IKEA. You could use like high-end stores. People are usually more likely to travel far for them. Oh, Erica, all your question marks are alarming. Proximity to markets and skilled workers, maybe? Oh. I don't think it has to do with skilled workers, though. It has to do with the threshold is... Look it up in the textbook and then let me know what you find, Erica. You could be right, but I'm like 90% sure it's the minimum number of customers needed to keep a business afloat. So what are the 2 comparative advantages that a country wanting to encourage business processes might have? So there's a few of them. They probably speak English. That's a big one. Loss of cheap labor. Tech training. Low taxes and financial regulations. Don't be scared, Erica. You fine. You fine. She's like, no, I thought I was fine, but I'm not. I'll never be fine. Give an example